Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to head back to 2014 and briefly analyze how Carlo Ancelotti's tactical approach helped Real Madrid destroy Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich in just over a half hour to guide the Spanish Giants back to the Champions League final. So when we break it all down and we do look at the board, we have Real Madrid in a 4-4-2 with Benzema and Ronaldo up front. You have Bale and Di Maria out in the wider areas and Luka Modric and Xavi Alonso in that midfield zone. The big tactical shock here was Guardiola shifting to a 4-2-4 as Bayern Munich were chasing the tie. However, Guardiola's decision to shift in towards this system played to his downfall. When we break down the areas where Bayern Munich struggled, first we're going to look in the wider areas because that's where they thrived, playing through Robben and Ribéry and then having the underlapping and overlapping runs of Alaba or Philipp Lahm. However, here Madrid did a very good job of shutting down those wider areas. They had wide, energetic, disciplined players in Di Maria and Bale tracking the movement of Lahm and Alaba, and they also had very good defensive 1v1 defenders in Fabio Contrao and Dani Carvajal. However, here when you look at several scenarios within that opening half hour or so, Madrid did a very good job of covering up and doubling up in those areas. The fullbacks were tight on Robben and Ribéry, and Bale and Di Maria also did a very good job of closing down those wider players when they picked up the ball in deeper positions. And frankly, Madrid simply had more numbers in those zones. While Madrid did a very good job of ensuring Bayern couldn't overload those wider areas, it was actually Ancelotti's men who overloaded those areas to ensure that Bayern had no superiority in those zones. They had Luka Modric and Pep shifting over on the right-hand side, and they were always 4v3 or 4v2 in those zones. And then over on the left-hand side, Xavi Alonso and Sergio Ramos were shifting across to help out Fabio Contrao and Di Maria. Put simply, you could break down several scenarios within that opening half where you witnessed Madrid comfortable in those zones, having enough numbers to ensure that Ribéry and Alaba couldn't combine and Lahm and Robben couldn't combine, and in many ways they neutralized that Bayern Munich threat out in the wider areas. Therefore, if Bayern couldn't find any success out in the wider areas, they struggled even more in central areas because Madrid were a compact, narrow 4-4-2. They pressed well from the front with Benzema and Ronaldo doing a very good job of closing down the center backs, and then when they were out of possession in more of a mid-block, or even when they were higher up the pitch sometimes, you witnessed the midfield bank squeezing the space in those central areas, and with Toni Kroos and Schweinsteiger dropping deeper to pick up the ball, they were often ahead of Benzema and Ronaldo, who would look to pick them up, and at times you would see Di Maria and Bale tucking in a bit narrow to close them down as well, and that would leave Thomas Muller floating between the lines, looking to receive it in those zones and combine with Mandzukic, but he struggled to receive the ball in those zones. Because Madrid were doing a very good job of closing down the space in the wider areas, there were times where Ribéry and Robben shifted in towards those zones, but again, Bayern failed to penetrate those areas on a consistent basis, and whenever they did, Madrid did a very good job of breaking up the play, whether it be Bayern attempting to play quick passes in those zones and then having Alonso and Modric winning possession, or simply having one of the center backs in Ramos or Pep stepping forward to apply pressure and ultimately forcing the Bayern attacking players to concede possession. If we look to an example, you witness Toni Kroos splitting the Real Madrid midfield duo to find Ribéry shifting in towards that zone between the lines. However, Ribéry looks to play the ball quickly due to the Madrid pressure closing in on him, and he looks to play it into the path of Mandzukic and Robben, but that's where you see Sergio Ramos stepping in to make a challenge, and he ends up winning possession. And then if you look to another example, it's Kroos playing the ball across Modric into the path of Muller, who's being closed down by Alonso, and when Muller receives the ball, he looks to play a first-time pass across Modric and Alonso into the path of Alaba, but when Alaba receives the ball, he's closed down quickly by a marker, and now he's looking to play the ball in towards Robben, and when Robben receives that ball, he's instantly pressured by Alonso, attempting to run across Pep, but Pep steps in to win possession. So now when we shift to the final area of weakness that Bayern Munich encountered against this Madrid side was that when they were looking to push their fullbacks forward, they left ample space in those wider areas for the likes of Benzema and Ronaldo to drift into to pull out the center backs. And frankly, with Bayern committing so many men forward along with the fullbacks, now you have Ronaldo and Benzema in a 2v2 against the center backs, and they also have the speed of Bale and Di Maria, who could quickly break from their own third in towards the Bayern third to join the attack. With so much space to break into and Bayern simply struggling to advance into good attacking positions in wider areas and in central areas, it was very simple for Madrid. Whenever they won possession, they were quickly carrying the ball in towards the middle third and then playing passes out in towards the wider areas for the likes of Ronaldo and Benzema to break into, and from there Madrid were constantly posing a threat in the final third, and ultimately that's what did lead to their best opportunities. This was a reoccurring issue for Bayern, and when you break down the 3 goals that Madrid scored in that opening 35 minutes, they all highlight the issues that Bayern encountered within that period. The build-up to the Madrid opener witnessed the Madrid overload down the left-hand side, and Lam's cross being blocked by Alonso, which springs him to play the ball across 2 Bayern players into the path of Ronaldo, dragging away Cruz and a center-back with him. Ronaldo does a very good job of backheeling the ball into the path of Di Maria, and focus on the positioning of the 2 Bayern fullbacks that are caught higher up the pitch. From there, Di Maria could play the ball into the path of Ronaldo breaking forward around Cruz, but he ends up playing it over the center backs and Alaba, who's recovering into the path of Benzema. And while Benzema could play the ball in for a Ronaldo tap-in, Dante does a very good job of cutting out that pass, but that ultimately leads to the corner that Ramos converted. The build-up to the Madrid's second goal witnessed Bayern losing possession in the middle third, and it was Modric winning the ball off Ribery. And from there, it's Alonso who could play the ball in towards the center forwards, and he plays it into the path of Benzema, who can now look to play in Ronaldo running in beyond Boateng. And as Benzema drags away the center back, he plays the ball into the path of Ronaldo, who can now break 1v1 with Dante. And that's where you witness Dante taking out Ronaldo with a desperate silly challenge, and that ultimately led to Ramos converting the second free kick from a deep distance. And then we shift to the left-hand side for Madrid's third goal, where it's Ribery looking to cut across Carvajal, but look at the overload that Madrid have in this zone. It's only Alaba supporting Ribery, but you have Pep, Bale, and Modric helping out Carvajal. From there, you witness Ribery attempting to cut across Carvajal. He ends up failing to do so, and that results in him now turning back as it is 3v1, and he plays the ball into the path of Bale, who can now slide it across Di Maria. And from there, Di Maria breaks forward, and you have Alaba out of position and Philipp Lahm out of position. Di Maria ends up playing the ball into the path of Benzema, and you witness Bale continuing a forward run to join the attack to help out Ronaldo and Benzema. From there, Benzema drags away Dante and plays the ball in towards Bale running off Cruz. And now Bale drags away Boateng towards him, and he uses his speed to run across the center back, which leaves Ronaldo free in the left half space. And Bale does a very good job of playing the ball across to recover Boateng, and from there Ronaldo's free to side foot his effort beyond Neuer to kill the tie. So as you could see, although Guardiola's system selection played a key role in Bayern Munich's issues here, Ancelotti and his men deserve credit for their discipline and work rate out of possession, combined with their ruthless efficiency both in open play and from set pieces.